Let's go, Jet fans. I am so jazzed up. The Jets finally have their new head coach. Here are my top 5 reasons Jet fans should be excited for Robert Saleh.
Jets, Jets!
Vinny, what's up, brother?
I'm so excited. I had to bust out my Queen vinyl.
Dude,
and guess what song I'm playing?
Oh, dude, we are the champions?
Of course.
Oh, I love it. We are the
Let's go. We got a coach. We got our OC. We are heading towards brighter pastures, my friend. Bright, green, jet green pastures. The field of champions will be ours.
Vinny's on it. Oh, I love it, Vinny. We are the champions, my friends. It's like the Jets just won the goddamn Super Bowl. We just went 2-14. Oh, bro, I love it. I love it. Oh man, this has been a wild last 24 hours. If you are a Jet fan and you got that tweet last night, oh man, did you go off. I know I did. I lost my mind just a little bit. And this is the first time in 2.5 years that I have been genuinely excited to be a Jets fan. The whole Adam Gase thing just put a wet blanket on the entire fan base, and getting Robert Saleh in the building just shot us up with oodles of adrenaline. This was just so awesome to see, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. The call-ins were wild last night. It was so much fun. But let's talk about this. Let's discuss a little bit about this hire, and let's talk about my top 5 reasons why Jet fans should be excited about this. Not only are the Jets the leaders in terms of hiring minority coaches in the NFL, but we have now hired the first Muslim head coach as well. So forward thinking, very cool. I like seeing this. The San Francisco 49ers actually get 2 third-round picks because we hired a minority coach off their coaching staff. So I know there's a lot of misconception. A lot of Jet fans are thinking, we get draft picks for this. We don't actually get it. It's if you groom a coach and he gets hired away from you. So that's where that comes in. So 49ers fans are happy. They're upset that they're losing their guy, but they're happy all the way around. And it seems like there's a lot of just excitement around this guy. So let's talk a little bit about this. Culture-wise, I love the fit. The guy brings a Rex Ryan energy with a Todd Bowles stoic interview personality. He's got a ton of energy, but when he walks into a room, he's not always fired up like you see on the sidelines. He is just a guy that can control his emotions. Think Rex without the crazy let's put a target on our back. This is how excited the fan base should be. I'm so pumped on this. What's interesting is I know a lot of people expected him to go to Detroit. He's from Michigan. LaFleur's from Michigan, so they kind of assumed that's where he was going to go. But oddly enough, the passion for his coaching, why he wanted to coach. His brother was actually in one of the towers when 9/11 happened. So his brother's fine. His brother got out, but the thought of being able to lose your life so quick and not doing what you love, he decided to become a coach. So to kind of bring it all around back full circle, to bring him back to the New York, New Jersey area, and just have that meaning behind him, I think to the fans is going to mean a lot, and I think to him it means a lot. It's really cool to see. It's for the first time, it feels like we have a bunch of football guys in this team. We have Douglas at the top making these decisions. Then you get your top head coaching candidate. That can't be expressed enough. How many times do we go into a season and we're looking for a head coach and we get our 3rd or 4th guy? No, Joe Douglas, he went about his search the right way. He had 2 finalists, Arthur Smith and Saleh. They brought them both in. They pulled the trigger when they knew exactly which guy they wanted. Perfectly handled. Absolutely perfectly handled from start to finish. Then, just 10 minutes after the announcement, we find out we're getting Mike LaFleur, the passing game coordinator from the San Francisco 49ers, and that's another football guy. I love the Shanahan coaching tree. So this is to me, I'm a big fan of this. I really, really like this. And you know what? That fierce passion that comes in is going to rub off on all the players. The defensive guys, especially. This guy used to be a linebackers coach. How do you think C.J. Mosley is feeling right now? This has got to be awesome. This is really, really cool, especially after a guy has taken 2 years off. He loves his defensive line, so Quinnen Williams has got to be all jacked up. We have Marcus May. That's going to be a free agent. I think he's going to be fired up. He'll want to come back here. This is just really cool, and it's an atmosphere that the Jets haven't had around their organization since the late 2000s, 2009, 2010, when you had Rex Ryan here and we were going to championship games. This is amazing. And this is like, for Jet fans, we have been a second-class citizen in our own damn stadium for so long. For this to finally, like, it feels like a win. It feels like a win for a Jet fan from a culture perspective. The next thing up is coaching staff. I love the coaching staff. Mike LaFleur as our offensive coordinator is so good if you're a Jet fan. Now, the connection here, obviously their time in San Francisco, but Saleh was actually the best man at Matt LaFleur's wedding, the Green Bay Packers head coach. So they are very tight. They are tied by the hip, and I think this is a great move, especially because LaFleur was brought around by Shanahan. He was hired back in, I think it was 2014, by the Browns. He went to the Atlanta Falcons and then went to San Francisco under Shanahan. So Shanahan has literally taken this disciple to every single spot that he's been at. So you know he's learning all about these schemes and all about, just everything that Shanahan's about. I'm really excited to see like everything that's going on here. He was an offensive intern in Cleveland. He was an offensive assistant in Atlanta, and then he became the passing game coordinator in San Francisco, and then eventually became, our offensive coordinator as of yesterday, last night, whatever it was. He utilizes a lot of play action. So meaning like the Shanahan offense, they utilize a lot of play action. They have a lot of trips formations, things that you can run a lot of different routes and combinations out of like similar formations. So that way teams don't understand what you're about to do. They love their fast, athletic offensive linemen. So George Fant probably looking pretty good to LaFleur right now. And they love running backs with sub 4.4 speed. Like, they hit the hole fast and they just go. They're going to outrun you. They were heralded as having like the 4x1 of running backs in terms of like speed and everything in San Francisco. So that's really cool. I expect to see a bunch more RPOs. I think this style of offense is really going to put defenses on edge. They're not going to know exactly, is it going to the running back? Is it going to be a pass? Is the quarterback going to keep it? Like, all these different variables throw wrenches in defenses, and it's going to allow the offense to really look a lot more exciting. I'm expecting a top 15 offense this year, just from the cap space, the draft picks, and like the energy that's going to be about this, with an easier schedule too. I expect a top 15 offense out of this system. Now, for defensive coordinator, I haven't heard any rumors yet, but man, I would love to get Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, former Jet, first-round pick, number 12 overall. He is the secondary coach for the Saints down in New Orleans. And I would love this hire because, one, if he does well and he gets hired away from the Jets get some comp picks due to the same formula we just talked about with Saleh. And then he also has connections to that defense. There's guys on that Saints defense. They're $90 million over the cap. There's guys I want. Trey Hendricks, the pass rusher, real high up on my list. Marshawn Lattimore, going into the last year of his contract, they could get a ton of cap relief if they trade him. That could solve our cornerback issues. Like, this is a guy that I would absolutely love to bring in and round out our coaching staff. And Saleh has said we need diversity among staff. You need different races. You need different ideas, because he admits himself, he's like, I'm not going to be the perfect coach for every single person or every single situation for one particular player. Like, you need an array of different coaches, and this is just really exciting to see. I think this is the right mindset to go into things with. I'm really excited. I love the coaching staff that's starting to be assembled here, and I'm sure there's a bunch of different guys that he could bring in, guys that he's spent time with in Seattle or San Francisco or something like that. Like, I'm not too worried about who he's going to get for DC, but man, Aaron Glenn's a guy I really have my eye on. Now, in terms of free agency, how does this impact our free agency? I think defensive players, the top defensive players in this league, are going to see this guy, the energy he brings, and it's going to make the Jets an attractive landing spot for guys that may not have otherwise chosen us. Like, we may not actually have to pay the Jet tax this year. This would be absolutely huge. Guys in free agency, you're talking about Judon, Bud Dupree, Shaq Barrett, Melvin Ingram, Clowney, like just tons and tons of pass rushers that are hitting free agency that the Jets may be able to scoop in on. Trey Hendricks, the guy that I really want from the Saints, I would absolutely love this move. Now, in terms of guys that are connected to Saleh and to LaFleur, I would expect cornerback-wise, the San Francisco 49ers have 3 cornerbacks that are hitting free agency: Verrett, Witherspoon, and Sherman. Sherman is a very, very vocal leader and like thoroughly supports Saleh. He's been all about him for, dating back to the Legion of Boom when they were together, and now up to his time in San Francisco. And Sherman is going to be 33 years old next season, so he is very old. Think of this more of like a Demaryius Thomas, Frank Gore type of guy that can come in and at least maybe assimilate some of the guys to this way of thinking. I don't know if I wouldn't love Sherman, but he's still playing relatively well for the games he was in. I mean, he missed a bunch of this season, so it's not the best sample size. Witherspoon's the guy I would like. He's a lot younger, but I would think they're going to try and retain him. Ronald Blair, edge rusher for the 49ers. He was hurt back at the end of the 2019 season. He tore his ACL, so he did not play all of this year either. He has been trending in the right direction, and apparently Saleh really likes this guy. I don't think you're going to get him for a whole heck of a lot of money. He's 28 years old. I would definitely look at this as a way for him to bring in his defense and some of his guys without spending a crazy ton of money, because I think Douglas likes that aspect of free agent, not overspending on one or two particular players. Then on the offensive side, I would really look at two players. I mean, I guess you could look at Jordan Reed. I see that as less likely from a tight end perspective, because I think I would rather roll with Herndon than Reed, with Reed being a little bit older. But CJ Beathard is the backup quarterback, or Beathard, or however you pronounce his name, is the backup quarterback for the 49ers. He's going to be a free agent, and if you want to instill an offense, whether you're rolling with Sam Darnold or drafting a quarterback, it's good to have a backup quarterback that knows the system already, that can help in the quarterback room. I expect them to hire a quarterback coach still, but at least having multiple levels of nurturing for your quarterback, whoever it is absolutely huge. So I'm looking for this. I think that more than likely is going to be the way the Jets go here. So at number 2, what does this mean for Sam Darnold? And you're talking about, Adam Schefter tweeting out that the Jets should roll with Sam Darnold. They think that's what's going to happen. Kuiper and McShay are both saying how the Jets should roll with Sam Darnold. And the fan base loves Sam. Like, I really like Sam. Like, the only Jet jersey I have for a guy that's legitimately still on our team. I like Sam. I know that the contract's a little wonky, so there's going to be some issues. But Saleh had to game plan against Sam. He knows what he's good at. He knows what he's not good at. LaFleur's going to be able to look at him and say, like, hey, look, this system, this fits you to a T. Like, literally, if you had to pick an offensive system for Sam Darnold, it's the Shanahan system. Everyone's saying how the Jets should trade Sam to the 49ers because that's where he's going to have the most amount of success. Well, guess what? Now we have the San Francisco 49ers offense here in New York, and we don't have to trade Sam. Like, this makes the Jets look incredibly attractive. And the Jets have, backed Sam. They haven't called him the starter for 2021, but at the very least, they are going to put their chips behind Sam, whether they want to trade him or not, because it's the right thing to do. It's going to drive up price on Sam. And worst case scenario, you either roll with him or you trade him or you hold on to him. Joe Douglas did not trade, or the Eagles did not trade Sam Bradford after they drafted Carson Wentz. So I could see the Jets drafting a quarterback, holding on to Sam, and then waiting for an injury, just like with Sam Bradford, waiting for an injury to Minnesota. They get a first-round pick, and they flip Sam now. So I could see those sorts of moves possibly being in the future for Sam, but I could also see him staying here, and that makes me happy. I really like Sam. I didn't want to move on from him. I mean, there's going to be issues, but this is going to give us a foolproof plan for Sam, I think. And it excites me because I'm going to trust this judgment. And then at number 1, what does this mean for the draft? This opens up a world of possibilities, because if you're rolling with Sam now, all of a sudden you can trade out of 2 and you can get a host of draft picks. Like, this could set the Jets up for a long-term success plan. Now, that being said, if you don't believe in Sam, or if they don't believe in Sam and they decide, hey, we want to start new with a new quarterback, guess what Zach Wilson's preferred offense would be?
You look at the different options that have been thrown out there, and there are a lot of people talking about potential landing spots. What do you feel like is a system that is the right fit for you? You don't have to give me specific team names, but just maybe the scheme that you feel like you would fit best into.
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton of specifics with NFL teams and as far as what offenses they run. One just off the top of my head is the 49ers, just because I'm very familiar with what Kyle Shanahan does and the system that they have in place. And I think, I'd fit in well there.
And that's not to say they can't take Fields, but these guys love the Shanahan coaching tree. Like this is just it. Kyle Shanahan is like the golden boy on offense for the NFL. It's like him and McShay, or McVay. And it's exciting to see how these Jets are starting to build and go. If it's a trade out, if it's staying at 2 and taking a quarterback, you have multiple options. And then if you trade down, who's to say the Jets don't go after Kyle Pitts, the fantastic tight end from Florida, and they get George Kittle East Coast on this side? Like, I would be pumped for that. There's literally a host of different things that could happen over the course of this next year and this offseason. This offseason is going to be so bananas. I can't wait to share it with all you guys. Oh, my blood pressure is going through the roof. All right, guys, let me know what you think of the hire. What do you think of all the points that I made here? Do they make sense? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.
J-E-T-S!